there, and welcome to Baking Butterly Love. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make pumpkin, cream cheese, and chocolate flavored buttercreams to decorate this pumpkin Neapolitan style cake. So all of these recipes will be listed in the description below, but I'm going to start off by spreading a can of pumpkin puree onto a baking sheet that I've lined with parchment paper. I'm actually going to roast the pumpkin puree to try to reduce the amount of water in it. That way I'll get a more concentrated flavor in my buttercream. Once it's roasted, it should look something like this. Scrape the puree off the tray and let it cool completely before adding to your buttercream. Also be sure to avoid any areas on the edge that got too dry because you don't want to have any chunks in your buttercream. So go ahead and add the cooled puree to your buttercream. And I'm also going to add about a teaspoon or so of cinnamon. You could definitely use pumpkin pie spice here instead if you'd like. This buttercream isn't going to be completely silky smooth, but you do want to mix it enough that you don't have any large chunks of puree. They're unmixed. For the next frosting, I'm just adding cream cheese to my buttercream, followed by juice like half a lemon. You just want to add a little bit of lemon juice because it helps bring out that tanginess that you look for when you have cream cheese frosting. And finally, I'm adding melted and cooled dark chocolate to my buttercream. So you do want to use dark chocolate here. If you use milk chocolate, your buttercream might end up a little bit too sweet because you have to remember it already has a bunch of sugar in it. So once I got my 3 different flavors mixed up, I put each one in a different piping bag, and they're all fitted with the same piping tip. It's a number 32 star tip. Alright, so now it's time to put the cake together. I have 3 layers of pumpkin cake that I've already baked. They're all cooled, and I've trimmed the tops off so that they're level. And again, recipes for everything will be linked in the description below. So I just added a small dot to my cake board of frosting so that the cake won't slide around. And I decided for the inside to do a little pattern here. So I'm piping rings of each flavor, alternating between the chocolate, the pumpkin, and the cream cheese. And that way when I slice the cake, it'll create this cool effect where you have stripes of the different flavors. So I decided to use my pumpkin frosting for a crumb coat on this cake, but you could use any of the flavors. What you want is to just get your cake coated in a very thin layer of frosting so that when you go to pipe your design, you have an even surface to work with, and also the surface will be sticky so that the designs will stick to the side of the cake. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth at all, but you do want to try and make sure every bit of the cake is covered and pay special attention to the sides in between the layers. You want to get that evened out if possible. So after your cake is crumb coated, you want to go ahead and pop it in the fridge to chill for about 10 to 15 minutes, just enough time so that the cake can set up a bit before you go to pipe your design. And once your cake is chilled, now you're ready to pipe. So I'm going to decorate this cake with a mix of stars, rosettes, and shells. If you want to watch more in-depth instructions about how to pipe these patterns, I have a video about that. It's called Star Tip Cake Decorating, and I will link that video in the description below. One thing I do want to note here is that cream cheese frosting is very soft, so normally you wouldn't really use it to pipe patterns, but you can get away with piping these little star dots that I'm doing here, but I'm not going to use it to do anything more complicated like the rosettes or the shells. I decided I was going to do rosettes for the chocolate buttercream and do a shell pattern with my pumpkin buttercream, and then once I got those bigger patterns piped evenly around the cake, I went through and filled in with just little dots with all 3 flavors. So obviously I sped up or cut out some parts of the process with this cake decorating, but I did want to let you know I went back and looked at all of the videos from start to finish, like from stacking the cake layers to the final piping, and it actually only took me about 20 minutes of active time to put this cake together and decorate it. So that's just a good thing to keep in mind. This is a pretty quick design process if you are short on time but you want to have a high impact design. This is a good one for that. And for the slice, here we go. Yes, that's so fun. So I love how the stripes came out. It looks really cool, and it's nice because you get a little bit of each flavor buttercream as you're eating the cake. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I post new cake decorating videos every week, and you can also find me on Instagram at BakingButterlyLove. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.